Hey everybody, this is Kennedy Hawk from the MCM team. Welcome back to the channel. We have a Wolverine spoiler from the upcoming Marvel Champions Hero Pack to share with you all, thanks to FFG. So many thanks to them for letting us share this with the community. It's a super exciting time to be playing Marvel Champions. The X-Men are finally here. We've got 4 X-Men released already, and 2 more on the way in November, and just today there was a Gambit Hero Pack announcement. So the X-Men are here. I am super stoked, and I'm really excited to share spoilers with you all. Since this is from the Wolverine pack, we'll talk about a couple of the cards in his pack really quick, just so we understand how to talk about this spoiler card. So in his alter ego form, he has a setup ability to search your deck and discard pile for Wolverine's Claws upgrade and put it into play. I know there's been a lot of drama about what if you mulligan into Wolverine's Claws, and I'm just here to tell you if you're playing at Kennedy Hawk's table in my unofficial RRG 1.5, you just start with Wolverine's Claws in play. Like, that's the fun way to do it. Wolverine's his claws. He stabs and slashes at things with them. That's what makes him fun. So start with them in play. That's my number one tip with Wolverine. His claws ability really tell us what his kit's all about, and it's all about taking damage and using it as a resource, but in a different way than we've seen before. So he has hero action, exhaust Wolverine's Claws, choose an attack event in your hand, and take damage equal to its printed cost. Play that event, ignoring its resource cost. That attack gains piercing. Super, super cool. So he's gonna have to have a lot of healing to make up for that damage he's taking from his claws. You can imagine he's probably got some pretty expensive attack events. You're gonna want to include more in your aspect build. So luckily in hero form, Wolverine has healing factor. After the player phase begins, heal 2 damage. So super helpful. Cyclops is just gonna pat on the back here to let him know it's gonna be okay. Now, damage is a resource. Like I said, we've had that before. We have the OG Venom with his symbiotic bond ability, which is take 1 damage to generate a resource. We have Spider-Ham, where whenever he takes damage, he gains a 2 encounter, and then he can use that as if it was resources. And we even have Clarity of Purpose in the leadership aspect, where you can exhaust the upgrade, deal a damage to the character to gain a resource. So you're probably all wondering, what is Wolverine's wild resource generator? Does he even get a wild resource generator, since he has Wolverine's Claws to reduce the cost of things? So, I'm here to tell you Wolverine does get some kind of card economy and ramp ability within his kit. He's kind of enraged all the time, right? He's on the new art for Battle Fury. He's got this Berserker Barrage card where he looks pretty mad at those people that he's stabbing with his claws, and clearly he had anger issues in the 90s cartoon. He told Cyclops to tell him that he made a convertible and all that. So, yeah. Wasn't there a spoiler? I'm going to answer that question just like I answer every yes or no question my wife asks me when the answer is yes. The answer is, does a mall baby eat chili fries? Yes, there's totally a spoiler coming up in this video, but people hate to wait. And unfortunately, the day we get to release our spoiler is the day after the Gambit Hero Pack came out. So I know we're all really excited to talk about Gambit, and we're going to get to that on the show. But for now, we're going to get to a spoiler. So, okay, I made you wait long enough. We're here to talk about what Wolverine's ramp card is, what his resource type generator sort of thing is going to be. Well, in Marvel Champions, all of your cards provide resources, so what's better than a wild resource is card draw, and Wolverine gets card draw as his ramp ability. So we have here Berserker Frenzy. It's a 2-cost upgrade that has the mental resource. Hero response: after Wolverine takes any amount of damage from an enemy attack, draw 1 card. Forced response: after you flipped alter ego form, discard this card. So sorry I made you wait a long time to see this spoiler, but I really wanted you to attack me so that I could draw a card. The art from this card comes from X-Men Origins Wolverine. It was a one-shot issue from 2009. You can read some stuff there about it, but it basically gives a plug for how amazing the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie is going to be. So you can imagine this is a very truthful paragraph, and you should trust it completely. It is written by Christopher Yost, who's one of my favorite authors in Marvel Comics, so I might give it a shot, but some really interesting art selection there. So there's some obvious synergies here, right? You're going to be taking damage when the villain attacks you and when minions attack you, and then you can heal that damage with healing factor. But as Wolverine, you're going to have to balance this with how much damage you take from your claws, because you don't want to have to discard this when you flip down to heal if you actually need to recover. So some notes on the card. It doesn't work with non-attack damage. You can't use Battle Fury that we showed earlier to damage Wolverine because it's only damage from an enemy attack. But it is an enemy attack, so it's going to work with minions. So you can destroy all the minions in front of you, or if you have a bunch of 1-attack minions in front of you, you can draw 1,000,000 cards. It's your choice. Sometimes defeating minions is fun. Sometimes drawing your entire deck is fun. You do need to take at least 1 damage to trigger this, so you can't use tough and you can't use other damage reduction techniques to reduce the damage to 0, but you can minimize it and try to reduce it to 1. You want to trigger this at least 3 times to offset the cost, because it costs 2 itself plus 1 additional card, which is the card itself. So you're going to want to get 3 cards of card draw before you have to flip down and heal. And ideally, you can do that because of the healing factor. All right, so before we wrap up, I just wanted to go through 5 combos that get me in a frenzy when I look at Berserker Frenzy. So there's the obvious combos, the villain attacks you cards. So I'm talking about toe-to-toe and bait and switch. These cards they always had their place in decks where you're trying to get the villain and trick the villain into attacking you. And you can definitely build that deck with Wolverine. You're going to get like a 1-card discount for toe-to-toe and bait and switch, but I would call it even a little bit better than like a 1-resource discount, because you're cycling your deck, so you're hopefully finding the cards you care about more. Now this is going to be a big cost, because beyond the 1-cost resource, you're actually taking damage. You do turn that damage into 1 additional card draw, but you're going to have to balance that with how much damage you think the villain's going to do to you. If you're taking 4 damage to draw a card, that's a lot worse than taking 1 damage. So I'm excited to see if we can build decks around these, but I think you're going to need other pieces to mitigate that damage or keep you in hero form. One card I'm really excited to play with this is Angela. Now you could say, well, what about the minion summoning event, right? That removes 3 threat from the main scheme, which just discards cards until you find a minion. That could work out okay, but you don't get to control what minion comes out. With Angela, you get to search the top 10 cards of the encounter deck. So if there's multiple minions, you can pick the minion that has the lowest attack and tank that as Wolverine, turning that damage into resources. Or you can pick a high attack minion and then use something else to mitigate its attack. So I like having the choice from Angela. But I think all those minion summoning cards could be really, really powerful with Berserker Frenzy. Next, I'm excited about attack reduction cards. So I'm not thinking Subdue, because you have less control over the villain's boost flip to know if you're going to accidentally reduce the damage to 0. But if you can grab like a 3-attack minion out of the deck, and then have someone play pinned down on it when it's in front of you, and now it's hitting you for 1, you've removed that minion from damaging other players, and you are getting your resource draw off of it, all for a 0-cost card from Cyclops' pack. If you're playing multiplayer, you can also team up with Cyclops and use his defense tactic card attached to an enemy, max 1 per enemy, temporary, attached enemy gets -1 attack. So they can play this on the villain to let the villain damage you less. Once the Cyclops has his card out that lets the temporary word go away on minions, they can play this on a minion that's in front of Wolverine and get that attack down to a minimal 1 damage attack. Alright, you can also do that on your own with Energy Barrier. I really like this combo because you can take 3 attacks that are for 2 damage, reduce them all to 1 and deal 3 damage, and then draw the 3 cards to replace it and play the next Energy Barrier. So it's a pretty nifty combo. I'm pretty excited to see how it works out. I think Wolverine could actually have a really fun protection build since he has such good thwarting and such good attacking in his kit. Excited to see how it works out. And the last card I have here is Get Behind Me, all the way from the core set. So Hero Interrupt. When a Treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effects and the villain attacks you instead. When you have Berserker Frenzy out, you're going to be excited about drawing Assault. And you can turn the worst Treachery cards in the game into assaults with Get Behind Me. So I think that's going to be a really powerful ability. Again, you're paying 2 cards to have the villain attack you and then only draw 1 card in response. So it is kind of like, not a pyramid scheme, but a dwindling resource. You're circulating your resources and spiraling them down the drain. But if you're canceling really important encounter cards, I think Wolverine could have a really cool control protection deck. So that is our Wolverine spoiler. Thanks for listening in to the show, and thanks for sticking with us over the summer. I'm super excited that the X-Men are here, and I cannot wait to play Wolverine Storm when they come out in November. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.